What if you could earn $1,000, $10,000, or even $100,000 a month just from Sandbox? Even though it sounds crazy, in this video I'm going to break down exactly why I think this is entirely possible and how you could even become a Sandbox millionaire just by making fun little games or creating skins. Firstly, how do you make money with Sandbox? You make money as a developer through something called the Play Fund. The Play Fund is a developer payment system designed to reward creators based on player engagement rather than relying solely on forced microtransactions. The core goal is to incentivize the creation of fun, high quality content that people actually want to play. The money for the fund currently comes from Gary's Mod and Sandbox skin sales, but in the future will come from the sales of Sandbox itself, which will create a much larger pool of money as the game increases in popularity. Well, what does the Play Fund look like right now? Currently, the Play Fund is sitting at a little over $200,000 paid out to developers. That's $200,000 that has been paid out over the last about 10 months. Of course, if we divide the current payout from the amount of months the Play Fund has been paid out for, we get an average of $20,000 a month. And what else do we know? Well, as of recording this video, Sandbox has around 130 to very rarely up to about 300 concurrent players, which, if you know anything about typical online game player numbers, these are incredibly low. Especially when you consider all of the players are spread out across many different Sandbox games, because remember, Sandbox isn't as much of a game per se as it is a collection of many games. It's a platform. Okay, so now let's look at Sandbox's predecessor, Gary's Mod. Okay, so here we see concurrent player numbers that are orders of magnitude greater than what we see with Sandbox. At any given time, about 20,000 players are playing Gary's Mod. Keep in mind, this is a game that came out in 2006. This game, of course, has changed a lot in that time, but even still cannot compare to what is possible in Sandbox. To quote directly from the Sandbox website, Sandbox isn't Gary's Mod 2. It's built to eclipse what was possible before, not just modernize it. So it's safe to assume that Sandbox will be as popular or likely even more popular than Gary's Mod. Well, what can we speculate? This is where it gets interesting and where I think Sandbox starts to really show its potential. Gary's Mod has about 20,000 concurrent players on average, while Sandbox only has about 150. This means that Gary's Mod has about 130 times more players at a given time than Sandbox does. Remember that 20,000 a month the Play Fund is paying out to Sandbox developers right now? Well, imagine if it is as popular as Gary's Mod. Let's take 20,000 and multiply it by 130. This gives us a staggering $2.6 million in Play Fund paid out to developers every month. This number might seem unrealistic, but remember, this is from the same company that made Rust, a game that has literally grossed billions of dollars. I would argue that 2.6 million is a conservative estimate. Alright, let's keep going. So sure, the Play Fund pays out millions of dollars a month to developers in the future, but what does this look like for you and I? Well, in order to figure that out, we need to first know how many copies of Sandbox has been activated so far. I say activated because the game isn't officially released yet and is still in developer preview. Anyway, back in July, Gary noted that 50,000 people clicked a link that gave access to the game. So Sandbox has 50,000 players, right? Not quite. Some people already had access to the game by getting activation keys early, and certainly people have clicked the link in the last few months. So let's estimate then that about 100,000 people have access to Sandbox right now. If we multiply 100,000 by how much more popular Gary's Mod is than Sandbox, 130 times, we get 13 million active players. Now, not every one of those 13 million players is a developer. If we look at Roblox, the percentage of players that are developers is somewhere around 1%, but I suspect Sandbox will have a slightly higher percentage given that most of Roblox players are children, so let's say about 2% of Sandbox players are developers. So 2% of our future 13 million players gives us 260,000 developers sharing a $2.6 million Play Fund, or about $10 a month for every developer. Of course, the distribution will not be even. Instead, if we use Zipf's law, something that can be used to estimate the distribution of almost anything, we can assume that the top 20% of sandbox developers will take 80% of the play fund, and gives us the earning of each top developer. Okay, so let's take a look. The 500th most popular developer is then making $398 a month. Not too bad. At rank 300, we see $664 a month. And as you can see, the top 100 developers are making anywhere from $2,000 to $200,000 a month. Truly some incredible numbers here. Of course, this would require you to be one of the best sandbox developers, which will take some work and certainly quite a bit of time. But I want to use this channel to help people achieve that. I don't believe that it's unreasonable to say that if you develop enough games for long enough, you can make a living doing it. I mean, these are just estimates, sure, but I look at numbers like this and see opportunity for myself and others to get paid well for making fun games that people actually want to play. It's all possible. And once again, these are all very conservative estimates in my opinion. I suspect Sandbox will be more popular than Gary's mod, for example. In addition, seeing a monthly play fund that is more than 2.6 million wouldn't surprise me either. This is especially true if Facepunch develops their own wildly popular games on Sandbox, bringing even more players to the platform. Of course, these are all just estimates, but I hope this provides some insight into what top sandbox developers could be earning in the future. We will very likely see this game create a few millionaires. The real question is, will you be one of them?